If you want news and rumors that appeal, welcome to the Dusty Wheel.
Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel. Good night from the Dusty Wheel. And we sit around here, smash to black.
If you want news and rumors that appeal, welcome to the Dusty Wheel.
Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel.
Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel. I'm your host, the Innkeeper, and this is your live call-in talk show all about the Wheel of Time. And yes, the horn has been sounded, as you all heard, and we are here to answer it. So, yeah, we're back talking about Season 2, specifically about the Horn of Valere, the heroes of the Horn, and the prophecy that goes with it. We know that the Horn exists in the show, and there have been certain tidbits that the crew, the cast have kind of shared with us that we should see the Horn in Season 2. And to talk about all of this with me are two wonderful guests. I have Tom DeSimone and Joe Perry. Hey guys, how are you guys doing?
Hello.
What up? I'm doing pretty good. Pretty
Yeah,
good.
man. Good to be back.
Thanks for the horn blowing, Joe.
It's a pre-recorded horn blow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You'll just let that video go anywhere on the internet?
Yeah.
Good. But no, I think I thought this is a topic that I think is going to be kind of key throughout. I mean, the Great Hunt is basically the Great Hunt of the Horn, right? And so before we talk more, let me put up this. No, not that one. Let's do show contains spoilers. So we're gonna go up until the Great Hunt, but I will at times change to full book because you'll know when we do that. So for now, I'll just put that up there because I think we'll at least touch the ending of the Great Hunt and probably some other parts. So if you guys are going to talk about some of that stuff, let me know and we'll throw that up. So we talk about full book spoilers. So there was a few different things I was going to talk about, but I think the first one that I wanted to kind of share, and this is something, the first question I had, because this is something the Dusty Wheel talked about in July of 2021. So I don't know if you guys remember this, but I remember this and I was like, I think I have to show this. So let me show you this.
Chapter 47, I want to propose to everybody that we cut the blowing of the Horn of Valere. Whoa! I haven't gone down this road, but I want to throw this idea out. Recapa, what do you think about this? Do we need to blow the Horn of Valere in this moment?
All right. So, in the adaptation, that was a huge part of that kind of end of the Great Hunt adaptation that was done here. So, should the horn be blown? Should the horn? Well, we can't say cut because we know the horn exists, but should it be blown? Joe, what do you think? That's my first question for tonight.
Yes, it should be blown.
Okay. All right. So what are your reasons?
Because it's the bloody Horn of Valere. What other reason do you need? It's like one of the biggest moments in the entire series. It's probably the first. I feel like that's the first biggest moment of the series.
Okay.
Like when in the first two books, that's that, and the fight in the sky is up there, but that
right.
But the blowing the horn, it's there. It's the loaded gun throughout the entire book, and you're like, if they don't blow this damn horn by the end of the book, I'm going to be pretty upset.
Tom, what do you think? What do you think?
Chekhov's horn, is that what you're saying it is?
Yes, Chekhov's horn, exactly.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, like, it's the big culmination of the Great Hunt. So, like, I mean, even if he was to just fight the Dark One, I hope not like in the sky, because that really didn't make any sense. But you need it. Like, you need that. I mean, it's a big deal because, like, at this point, no one really knows who Rand is. No one knows who the Dark One, or obviously, spoiler alert, Ishmael is. Mm-hmm. So, like, the horn being blown for the people of the Westlands is a big deal. You know what I mean? Like, the horn is like a MacGuffin that everyone knows about. Like, it's a precursor of a prophecy. So, like, it happening is kind of heralding the end times, and like, this is real. Like, it's, I'm sure the White Cloaks have been proselytizing that the end is coming for hundreds of years, but now the horn has actually been blown. Something's up.
Right. So I don't know if I shared that Matt said play the whole clip. Matt, you do not want to hear the whole clip because it's 20 minutes of the chat going absolutely crazy about the panelists wanting to cut the horn. So that's what happened. So
he just feeds on the hate and the anger.
But no,
I'm sure we could link the video so people can go and watch it.
Yeah.
But the horn, So let me show you. So yeah, I mean, I think there's one thing that you could say that you don't necessarily need the horn to be blown to know what it means, right? So you could potentially build it up as this great, weapon, but it's only for the last battle. So whoever has it has a big kind of thing that you can use. So you're right. Yes, when it was blown in the Great Hunt, it was a great moment. It was like, I didn't see it coming, and so for many reasons it was great. But you could make the argument that, well, if they don't blow it, they leave it for the last battle, that it makes sense. But I think I think season 2 needs the horn to be blown to, like, for season 2 to succeed. So there's that. I think they would, saving the horn from a adaptation standpoint would also be a strange idea, I think, because I think they need a big moment and that's it.
Yeah, for sure. And they also, like, it's a huge supernatural type, moment in the books where it's like, it's ghostly heroes fighting, people. So, like, it's a really good opportunity to show an audience who doesn't know the books very well, and even like a media, like, what you could expect from a Wheel of Time story. Like, here's something, that happens in the books, or could happen in the story.
Right.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity to give some backstory too. Give some of the history as well.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I think the importance of introducing some characters that potentially be important later on in the books. And as a the importance of, okay, even though it's blown now, this is meant for the last battle. So I'm just gonna put this up. I saw this in chat. People like what I saw a comment about what horn are we talking about. So we're talking about the Horn of Valere, and this is from the companion. It is a golden curled horn bearing the words, I'm gonna butcher this, Taya mi even moridin isain devadin, meaning the grave is no bar to my call. And as you can see on the right, this is what was teased in the when they released the season 2 premiere date, and that's what it says on the right there. So it is, they've mentioned it now. We've seen a chest that contains the horn. And we have
Allegedly,
allegedly, right?
I'm pretty sure they said it.
I think Uno's exact words were the Horn of Bloody Valere. That's
Yes.
I think Perrin was like, "What is that?" And he's like, "The Horn of Bloody Valere." That's what Uno said. So yeah, so we know it's there. Fain has it now. So let's just talk for a second about the Great Hunt. So I think unanimous. Let me end this poll. See, 98% of people. So hey, there's maybe one person, two people out there. I think this is 84 votes.
Is that the most lopsided poll in Dusty Wheel history?
It sounds like it.
Yeah. So most people want this, but I think the fact that I think we can move on from that. I think the horn should be blown for many reasons, but do we get the Great Hunt like we did in the book? So the way it happens is Fain has the horn. He steals it from Faldara in different circumstances, and goes away. The party that goes after him is different than I think what will be in the show, but they get it back until they go to Carrion, and then Fain steals it again and then goes off to Falma. So there's this kind of, they do get it back and then it gets stolen again. Do you think that will happen, or do you think Fain takes it all the way to Falma, and that's where a person gets to blow it?
It's interesting, right? Because we think Rand is going to be in Cairhien and Moraine and Lan. So does the horn wind up there somehow into Rand's hands, even though he wasn't even looking for it and didn't even know that it was found?
Right.
That'd be interesting. For some reason, though, I don't think I feel like it's going to go straight to Falm just for, time, to keep everything concise, with the amount of time they have to spend. So to have it go back and forth would be fun, but I don't know. It seems like if all the characters are separate, it seems like the characters are separated, not all together. So they're going to have to spend a lot more time cutting back and forth between different characters. So you're going to get, it's not like they're all going to be together and you could do all kinds of stuff because they're all together and you're not cutting to other stories.
Yeah, I think that culminating at Falma seems to be what they're going for. So yeah, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, like, for them to have, they don't, like, I was going to agree that they don't have enough time in 8 episodes to do essentially 2 arcs for the horn, it being stolen and recovered again.
Right.
The storyline, I think what they'll use for Cairhien, they could use the horn passing by Cairhien. They could use rumors of Trollocs and Myrddraal and wolves and Ogier and Aes Sedai traveling past Cairhien to pull Moiraine and Lan and Rand out of the city.
Do you
show.
think they could? I mean, one thing I was thinking, there was a big, and this never happens in the books necessarily, but the hunt for the horn is called in Ilion. And, for the first time in like 400 years or something. Could they do that and just change it to Cairhien? Does it matter that it needs to be in Ilion? Because I think that's one way you could have like a festival, but it's the festival for the horn in the Foregate and not, whatever, the Festival of Lights. I just feel like that would be a good way to introduce the concept of the horn maybe in Cairhien, even though it's not there. What do you guys think of that?
I like that.
I like it. I'd just be sad that the world's greatest gleeman, Tom Merrilin, won't be there for the calling of the hunt for the horn.
He'll be there in spirit.
Yeah.
That's true. But it would have been really cool if that would have been a perfect place for him to have shown up. I mean, that's when he does show up, you know.
Yeah.
So so I thought that necessarily the horn does not need to go to Carrion and be retrieved and all of that, and there's probably just two separate kind of, there's a great hunt that's happening, and there's a Moraine Rand land plot line that's happening separately, and maybe a Matt and Supergirls,
Matt's
or
probably
Matt,
with the girls. Yeah.
something like that. You know, that there's like three kind of plot lines like that. That probably makes the most sense. So when do we get to actually see the horn? Do you think we get to see the horn like in the last, like the 7th or 8th episode, or
I think,
are we going to see it, like, is Fain going to open it in the first episode? Look at this, you know.
I think it's as like a reminder to the viewers, like,
Yeah.
hey, this is what we're going to be doing this season. Like, they're going to show, they can't, I don't think they go the whole season without showing it until the very end, since they've shown it already. So I think
Yeah.
I think we'll see it.
To get Chekhov's horn completely right, we got to see it.
Right.
You
Okay.
know, so I think we'll get I think at the very least we'll get a shot of the box being opened and seeing the horn. It could even be a flashback of the horn being placed into where they dug it up.
Mhm.
But as long as we see the horn, I think we're going to see it in the first episode. It could even be the cold open of the first episode. Though I think the cold open might be the Dark Friend Social, to be honest.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm asking, will there be a festival for the Hunt of the Horn in Carrion in season
I
2?
like that. I never thought
I like
about
that
that.
too.
I didn't even think about the calling of the hunt for the horn.
I
as a
didn't
scene.
too. Yeah, I didn't think of it because it's not. You don't really see it. I think.
No.
Because you don't go to Ilion. I mean, you actually never really go to Ilion. You just like kind of pass through. Anyways.
Rand's there for a short while.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't know if you go to Ilion. By the way, after book 2, we don't know what happens. So yeah, let me ask everyone that. But yeah, so I think you guys think we will see the horn. We haven't actually seen it. So what do you think it'll look like? I mean, this is, one from the books. This is from the books, right? This kind of
French horn.
yes, exactly. Although it's interesting that some of the prophecies that we'll talk about in a little bit actually talk about trumpet. And again, I think it's probably just just because of saying something that's an instrument that makes a sound is what they're going for. And the other, actually, I thought I had this, but this is from the ebook cover, so it looks similar to the other cover. So, presumably Rand is holding the horn, and again, it looks similar to what we see in the chapter icon. So you think that's kind of what it will look like? Oh, I just thought of, when you said they'll open it, do you think they'll show it like the briefcase from not Reservoir Dogs, the
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction.
just the light.
Just the light. No, probably not. But do you think in terms of how it looks, does it need to look, majestic or whatever? I mean, how do you think they'll show it to us in one of the photos or release photos prior to?
Yeah. I mean, they did that really cool like making of with the sword and some of the other magic items.
The guitar, right? Do you think
guitar
they
too, yeah.
show us do we get to see the horn before?
I don't think so. I feel like they're not going to do that for season 2. I think all that stuff was mainly done for season 1, and I also feel partially maybe because of the COVID delay, they said like, let's just do some
what do we got? What do we got to give the people?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not sure we're gonna get. I mean, there might be I can't see there being a picture released of the horn. I just don't see like their reason for it. Unless it's somebody blowing the horn, which I think that's a big mistake. But I'd love to see
right.
it.
That's interesting. You're like, don't give us stuff.
Not the horn. Not a picture of the horns.
Yeah. Like, give us some set photos. Like, let me see a Shanshin Damane or a Gralm or a Lopar or a Toe Raken or something. Something like that. I don't want to see the Horn of Valere in like a photo during like a commercial for Monday Night Football. You know what I mean?
Right.
I want that to be cinematic with the music and the feeling of watching that first episode.
Yeah, I don't think you're getting Lopar and Raken and
I don't think so either. But something else. Just something else.
We got to get at least one of them. They're just going to bring in elephants and say, "Look, there's Reddits."
Yeah,
that's true. Elephants.
Everyone be like, "What's that?"
What's the horn going to sound like? Is what I was just thinking about. I never thought about that. Like how they're going to. That's what I want to know.
A clear note is played, and it's supposed to be heard across, kind of a wide area, and it actually well, I can't talk about that right now. I'll talk about it in a little bit. But it's this clear sound that is it kind of like pierces the surroundings, and it's clearly heard.
Yeah, and it sounds otherworldly too a little bit. I think they describe it as.
Here's the quote. It was a clear note, golden as the horn was golden.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Golden. That's
golden. There you go. So I ended my last poll. Will there be a festival of the horn in Korean? So about 60% of people think that's not something that I just came up with now. I mean, I did kind of come up with it now, but some people agree with it. Let me just, for my sake, because will the horn picture be shared prior to season 2 release? Well, let's see what the people say, what chat says about that. But so do you think the horn, I think there's so much visually you can do with the horn sounding than the actual sound. Yes, I think the sound's important, but I think they could do cinematically things with it that would make it more, more of a big deal than just the sound of it. Because I think it shouldn't just be a sound and that's it. I think there should be like,
rumbling.
I don't know if it's rumbling is the right word. Yeah, they're like a shockwave of sorts. Like people like shudder. There's a clear something like that. That would make it much more than because then the mist that comes up and. The actual number that I was looking at, it's a little bit more than 100 heroes that show up at the Battle of Falma. So that's a fair number of people. I don't know if they're all on horses, but there's most of them
ghosts.
Yeah, exactly, right. So that's a fair number of people. So I think that cinematic is going to be so important to hit right, because if it doesn't, whatever that sound was, I think, it's not gonna matter. So what do you picture that to be like? Is it going to have you seen that anything from that in any of the pictures that we've gotten or anything like that?
I honestly, I think in some of the season 2 teaser they did it. Comic-Con where they showed like there was like the video where you see like kind of like through like a tunnel and you see like a guy with a sound boom and like a cameraman and then Shanshin fighting, and in the way back like Loyal. I think there was a couple of photos where we kind of see the mist, and it could just be dust, it could be a lot of things, but I think it might have been the mist. But for it to really hit home, I'm hoping, like what I always imagine that scene looking like is a lot of very oddly dressed people, especially for it being like a kind of like a medievally setting, people wearing woolen and tunics and silks and stuff. Like I'm hoping we see like people wearing
like the Shamael tuxedo
the Shamael tuxedo,
right?
Something armor,
right?
Yeah, like almost like like all different sections of history, like people dressed out, like maybe even some people dressed from like the future,
Yeah.
wearing like weird futuristic
I mean, not
costumes,
you. I mean, you don't like not like Iron Man or like
No, but like maybe like a factory,
Maybe.
like something that it could be, yeah, no, for sure, but something that looks modern. Maybe even if it's just one thing where you see like someone wearing something that looks more modern, like a strap of like the Velcro or battle, some sort of because they're all supposed. Yeah, that's good. Because they're all supposed to be like heroes from different times, and supposedly our time had happened. That's book stuff, but it would be cool to see if it's at least just a smattering of very differently dressed people.
right.
And very different people. Like I want to see like it looking like a hodgepodge. Like I just hope it's not like uniformistic where it's like all these different people, but they're all wearing very similar things, very similar colored things, whatever. I want it to look like all these heroes plucked from different countries, plucked from different times. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, Chad is just
really cool.
Power Rangers. They don't want Avengers Endgame. Please,
what
no
about
Star Trek cost.
Maybe like a Ninja Turtles in there. We could do something like
an
that.
alien of some kind at least.
Overseas, a shock lancer too.
Maybe you see Ripley from Aliens. She's the hero of the Horn now.
Definitely.
This would be interesting. Like someone in military garb. No, I don't think I don't want to be removed that much from it.
No,
because I think they've done well with the Shamel's clothes and in
some of the background stuff.
Yeah, it's the season 8, the episode 8, Cold Open 2. Like that, the clothing was futuristic, but more
it was Star Warsy to me.
Yeah,
modern-ish.
Exactly. From a galaxy far, far away. I guess. Yeah. That would work. So yeah, I think how that visual is going to be so important, and I see a lot of people talking about how important episode 8, which likely is going to be most of the battle of Falma. That's going to be, I imagine, that has to hit and has to land. And one of the heroes is the doctor.
I have a question for you. I wanted to, when you said episode 8, for both of you guys in chat too, I guess. Do you think they're going to blow the horn in episode 8, or do you think they're going to blow the horn at the end of episode 7?
Oh yeah, that's been my what I've been telling people is it would be awesome if like they're losing, and then a person blows the horn at the end of episode 7. And then episode 7, the first like 30 minutes is just the battle and everything, and then there is a 20 to 30 minute kind of aftermath, because there is not a lot, but enough that happens afterwards, and they need to set up season 3 well and not just do a big cliffhanger. I mean, they can do that, but I think if they set it up so the battle happens not like at the end of episode 8, but maybe the start of episode 8.
The penultimate episode, like more of a like a drag, not drag, Game of Thrones, like usually the second to last episode was the big culmination, and then the last episode was the setup.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let me poll that. When do you want the horn to be blown?
Blown. Personally, I hope it's at the end of episode 7.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say I think, and I haven't even really thought about this. Like, what does Rafe want to accomplish? But at the end of the season, like what does he want to have set up for the next season? I'm not even sure I even thought about that part. I just assumed, the end is going to be the battle at Falm. I don't think it's going to be like a big cinematic battle. I feel it's going to be more like, like a up close first person kind of stuff, like going on all over the place. Like they'll be cutting back and forth between different groups fighting. But yeah, I never thought, like, after that, I thought you're probably going to get the reveal of Lanfear. Right. I think Lanfear will come visit. And then I don't know what's going to happen with everybody else. Like, what else? Like, are they already going to start setting up? Like, Perrin's going to go back to Two Rivers, or going to the waste?
They have to show that stuff, because I think, I mean, for whatever reasons, right? However, episode 8 ended, how season 1 ended, it wasn't as clear what was going to happen. They threw in the horn and things like that, and that's kind of how the Eye of the World ends too, right? Like you don't really know what the next step is, but I think here they know what they want to do. They want to get the Aiel, they want to go to the Waste, and they've talked about that in season 3 stuff. So, all right, I'm gonna ask people this and see what we get for this. So, just before we move on to our next thing, this is a live call-in talk show. So, tell us what you think about the Horn, the heroes, what you want to see. The number is 313-TALK-WoT, 313-825-5968, and call in and let us know. I mean, yes, Lanfear and then some other stuff, the end. Yes, we know. I don't know. Do you guys know Bolt Camp in season 2? I know Kieran Donnelly, right, is directing season 3, but he wasn't a director for season 2. But that doesn't mean another director can't use the Bolt.
Oh yeah.
I don't think we know. We haven't heard.
I imagine it would be like the same, maybe one of the same cinematographers,
right?
Or or another cinematographer has familiarity with that camera.
Yeah. I think that would be awesome. I mean, imagine like the heroes are all like fighting with the Bolt camera.
That would be crazy.
That would be wild. Yeah.
It would be like, well, I mean, it's like 300, I guess, right? But it's Wheel of Time and the Battle of Fain.
Yeah. I always imagine the heroes fighting like being less realistic, like mechanical fighting, like, you know, blocking sword hits and stuff like that, and more like them just being kind of like a ghostly force that's pushing into the because you can't kill them, you know what I mean? Like you can't have the heroes falling and stuff. Like, yes, they're up there swinging weapons and fighting, but taking hits and stuff, I don't see that happening. So I maybe don't imagine it being more of like an actual blow for blow with the heroes against the Seanchan, but more like a
like a Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. No, I mean, but
yeah, that's why I like no, I didn't like that Lord of the Rings. That was
it was too easy, and I'm gonna switch to the heroes, and I'm gonna put up full book spoilers because I think when we talk about the heroes, we need to talk a little bit more. But before I do that, I wanted to show you a couple of stills. My question is, and I'll ask you guys and the chat in a bit. This. And there's another from what seems to be a same time or same scene.
Oh,
is this before? Is this the Shienarans, the White Cloaks, the Seanchan fighting before the horn gets blown? This time is this from that time?
I have to say one thing. Put that picture back up.
Yeah.
So I noticed something else. Notice the shoulder blade of the guy Uno's got in a headlock. It looks like he's got him in a headlock.
Yeah.
That's the same, right? Isn't that the same design that from the still?
From Matt?
Still with Matt. Yeah, with Matt's perspective. Not to throw it off.
Exactly. Yeah. No. I'm like I need to do this, but I don't want to do this. Someone out there, do a comparison of that and let us know. But do you think this could be that same? Could this be episode 8? I guess. Or episode 7, at the end of episode 7 before the horn is blown. Is this another battle that's happening in mid-season? What do you think?
I think
it's a mid-season. I don't think it's.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think
it looks like Loyal gets captured at some point. So that could be the fight, maybe where Loyal gets captured, like prior.
Yeah.
And I think this is again from a similar period. I don't know if I didn't put that one up where the blonde white-haired White Cloak is fighting presumably Avienda, and she's doing a flip.
Yes.
I don't know if that is also from this specific scene, but I think you're right. I think it would make sense that is where a mid-season battle happens. Now that I have to kind of look back, the picture of Ishamael and
Seanchan
is episode 5. So Loyal is
Yeah.
dressed as a Shanshan in episode 5, so he must get captured in episode 3 or 4. Well, seems like end of 4 is this, with a big battle, and he gets captured. And the next time you see him, maybe some time has passed, and now he's kind of assimilated into somehow a trusted member of.
Yeah, I mean, he could be playing the, you know how like Bail Doman is kind of like captured by the Shanshan and he's just there to like hang out and tell them stories. Like, who better to do that than Loyal? Like he could
Especially
be doing,
if they don't have Biodome.
yeah. So Loyal could be kind of doing that thing that Doman does. And
All right, I'm getting a lot of questions about full book spoilers. I just threw it up there. Let's go into full book spoilers. So we're about 40 minutes in or so. But yeah, I thought so too. I don't think we've gotten anything. Oh no, actually, now that I think back, the Rand up close picture is episode 8, and
Yes.
the Perrin. So that, again, I think we've talked about this before. Where if those are episode 8, the sunny nature of those photos speaks against the horn being already
Having been blown prior,
yeah.
yeah.
So which again, that when I remember when I heard that, I was like, oh, that doesn't play well with that theory, but maybe it can. I don't know. Yeah, but it's
the friend hasn't fought Torok yet.
right.
And it
Exactly.
doesn't look like, you're right. It doesn't look like the horn is blown. And I think we have kind of reason to believe that while they're or like right before they start fighting or when they start fighting, that we're going to get like white cloaks charging in.
Exactly. Right.
Do we know for sure that those images are from those episodes though? Or is that just from the...
It's a metadata, or like how it
No,
was
it's not even the metadata. It was
it's just the
easier than
folder.
that.
Okay.
In the so on the Prime Press Wheel of Time press page, Amazon Prime's press page, that's where they put all like the photos that they released and videos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they were posted there, and they had the actual file titles were like whatever 202, blah XYZ, blah 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 203. They were all the episode numbers, and then like they
and then
realized
changed
it. Yeah, they realized it and changed it, but it was too late. Like
Right.
a ton of people had already copied it down.
Okay.
So
All right, I'm gonna end this poll while I still can. So, because it before we mention that key piece of information, when do you want the horn to be blown? Most people 84% of people here want it to be end of episode 7, and
Wow.
But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna revisit this poll, but I
think we just busted that one.
there's
Though.
well, no, you know what? I still think that there's a possibility it could be episode 7, even though because like the mist isn't blotted, like it's not talked about blotting the sun out. It's a low-lying mist that's on the ground, and I don't remember the exact, like I should have probably went back and reread the entire scene of the horn in the books, but I seem to remember when Brigitte is like shooting the Shanshan ships, she's doing it in a clear sky.
yes,
Yeah.
So again, if we say that the Rand is from episode 8, and the horn has been blown or is going to be blown, then we could say this could be Matt around the same time, right? This could be Falma,
right
and
before.
right, exactly, something like that. So there's the other picture that we got more recently could be similar. So
That could be a matter of what did I just do?
right, exactly.
My favorite part is when they're trying to like scramble over the wall, and he throws the horn over the wall first before going over.
He throws it, and then he's like, "Oh, it's not even scratched."
Yeah,
I think
if we get that scene, I'd be happy with the entire season.
All right, we're gonna get into who actually blows the horn in a little bit, but let's talk about the heroes, and then we can jump into that. So these are the heroes that are mentioned in the Wheel of Time companion. So, I think I saw 15. Yeah, I think there's about 15 there, and I put this is full book spoilers, so I put a certain name up there that you guys have all seen, who became or maybe was a hero. I actually don't know that particularly. Was Jane a hero before this, or did he become one in this age?
He became one in this age. So I just finished a memory light like a couple weeks ago. He became one in this age because they make a comment about like how better, like I don't know. There's like a quick conversation about it, like no, like it was a reward, or it was like it was implied that he earned it
Right.
in this go around.
So, how many of these names are we going to hear in episode 8, or in season 2? Are we going to? We've heard Arthur Hawkwing. We've seen, or I don't know if I think the doll was,
Brigida.
Yeah,
Brigida,
we've and I think the child said Brigida, right?
Yes.
Yes. So we've heard those 2 names already. We've heard Jane Farstrider.
Mm-hmm.
So we've heard these 3 names already. So I would imagine that we would, again, unless they actually want Jane to be a part of the show, but would they have those 3 show up as heroes? Because we've heard those names. Or would they keep Jane separate and, maybe introduce him and all that?
And that depends if you plan on doing Noel.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not going to do Noel, then you could put him in here now.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do Noel, then you can't. I don't think you can.
Yeah.
I think it's probably pertinent to mention the Amarisu and some of the leaks that have happened, that name may be played by someone, and again, that's someone who might show up. But other than that, is there anyone else that you want to see from that list that matters, other than Arthur Hawkwing and really Brigida? None of the others really have too much of a actual impact on the story. So like, even for us, right, for fans of the books, we're not like, oh my god, they didn't show Guidal Kane. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
Well, actually,
I was actually going to say Guidal Kane.
Yeah, me too.
Only because.
But why?
Well, because okay. So if they and we're full book spoilers, right?
Yes, we're full
okay.
book spoilers. Yeah.
I'm just making sure,
Yes.
giving everyone another heads up, just
Yes.
for a couple seconds. So. I feel like they need to have Guidal Kane in this part, if not just to show him and Brigida like touching each other lightly, like the horn gets blown, they come together. There's a guy with 2 swords on his back and a woman with a long blonde braid and a silver bow, and they affectionately are standing next to each other. They jokingly are talking, or it looks like that they are. They know each other in some way, so that later, if they do the whole Brigida coming out of the world of dreams and becoming a person and having that disconnect now from Guidal Kane, or so she thinks at least, it'll hit home a little bit harder. Like if they show that scene, if they show at least some sort of familiarity between the 2 when the horn gets blown, it'll be a good callback for in season 3, 4, 5, whatever it is, when she gets pulled back out and they're like, and she's like, oh no, I'm not going to see him again. So I kind of hope they start building on that now. That's the other hero other than Arthur Hawkwing and Brigida that I hope to see is Guidal Kane.
Yeah, me too. I think the same thing, and maybe Rogash Eagle Eye, just because he's got a fun name.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I was going to come down to. Like, other than the fact that they have fun names, like,
well, you know what? Like, it would be a really cool thing, like, because they say, and this is something I wrote down when we were talking about like what things to talk about. Rogash Eagle Eyes is a cool. Yes, it's a cool name, but it's a fun way to put in and here's the idea of like differently dressed and maybe like a nod to our time. He could be a Native American, like Eagle Eye is an easy Native American name to use. I don't know about Rogash, but he could be dressed, in like a loincloth or having face paint that is Native American-esque, and a headdress or even just a band with feathers in it, something like that.
Right.
Just something that is a nod to, oh, is that our world? Right. Is that it's not Aiel, because we've seen Aiel and they're kind of their culture is built off of some Native American culture, traditional stuff. He looks very different from that. That's just, that was one of my thoughts, is they it doesn't need to be like a futuristic type thing. It could just be like a nod to something from our, human timeline. stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
No, I think that's a reasonable kind of expectation to have some of these characters show up and be like not be named characters that we know of in some, but if you actually, you know, they're mentioned, and in A Memory of Light, I'm trying to think if Guile King even says something.
I don't remember. I should have read it.
Yeah,
I'm terrible. I'm the worst.
I don't know, Joe. I don't know if you
Terrible.
remember having read it the most, but I think when I looked it up, I saw that some of these other names definitely spoke. The one as I was reading the companion, it's funny that I think Otari is sometimes known as Oscar, and Pedrig is sometimes, in some, you know, iterations, is known as Patrick. So I thought Siobhan, maybe in some telling iteration, was Steve. You know, I was like, that would make sense, because I think they talk about the names and how that works a few different times.
Sorry, my camera died for a second. I'll be right back. I'll be there in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I think it's back. There it is. Yeah.
There we
Okay,
go.
sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So, but I think that's one of the things about the heroes is when people see them, they'll know who they are because of any of the legends they've heard about them, based on any name. So they've taken many names in different ages, and they would know them as soon as they've seen them. When they come, when the horn is called and they come from Teleron Riyadh into the real world. A few other things, they know each other, and they know and I'll put up the prophecies that talk about this in a second, but they're there for the dragon. So the dragon has to be leading a battle, or at least be present. So if the dragon hasn't been born at that point, the dragon soul is not there, and someone blows the horn, I think they'll show up and they'll be like, all right, bye. Like, I don't think exactly. They'll just go back. I think. I don't know if maybe they don't even show up. That the dragon banner needs to be there, and I don't know how true that is. There, at least the heroes seem to think that's important. I don't know if actually it's important, and but they do show up for where the banner is. It's kind of weird that it happens in Falma, because the horn is there and the banner is there, and that's where they show up. But when Ulver blows it, he's far away. What's his name? Jane shows up there, and Brigida shows up where Elaine is, but the bulk of the heroes show up where Matt and the banner is. Yeah. So where they show up is a little bit odd in terms of how it happens, but I think from some of the, at least
I pulled up the scene. Yeah. If you want.
Yeah, go ahead. Which one do you have?
The from the Great Hunt. Like, I pulled up my PDF of the book. So.
Oh, okay.
This was Rand. So Rand turns and gasps. He knew them, men, not all in armor, and women. Their clothes and their weapons came from every age, but he knew them all. Rogash Eagle Eye, a fatherly-looking man with white hair and eyes so sharp as to make his name merely a hint. Gaidal Kane, a swarthy man with hilts of 2 swords sticking up above his shoulders, golden-haired Birgitta with her gleaming silver bow, quiver bristling with arrows. More. He knew their faces. He knew their names. They were gleaming. I'm looking for when they start talking. He knew the man who wrote the head.
I have. Let me show you this. So I took out the specific one. So this is mainly, I think, Arthur Hawkwing talking. So he says, "Something is wrong here. Something holds me." Suddenly he turns his sharp-eyed gaze on Rand. "You are here. Have you the banner?" And then a little while later, "You are here. The banner is here. The weave of this moment is set. We have come to the horn, but we must follow the banner and the dragon." And then he says, "Trumpeter, will you give us music on the horn? Fitting that the Horn of Valere should sing us into battle." This is from the Grave is no bar to my call, from the Great Hunt. So I think at that moment, it seems like it seemed important to Arthur Hawkwing that those things be there. And I'll pull up the part in A Memory of Light in a little bit, but do you think we haven't seen the dragon banner or a dragon symbol? Do you think we will see that in season 2, at the end of season 2? Is the dragon banner important to the show, and will we see it in this context, I guess?
It's not important to the show. It'll be there because it's easy to just put there, like wherever they want to put it in. I don't think it's going to be in season 2, though. I think you don't really need to introduce it until he's starting to become, like Rand the Conqueror. Maybe in season 3 we see it. But I don't think it'll be like a huge thing and it'll be tied to the horn. I think that just probably makes it too complicated and confusing, because it was confusing for us, and you're going to even show us when you show the Memory of Light part.
Yeah.
I think there's I think a ton of questions in the interview database with Robert Jordan about this too.
Right. Yes, exactly. So let me pull that
also,
up.
like them finding it and then just kind of putting it in a saddlebag for the entirety of book 2 is,
Yes. I think will we see the dragon banner in season 2? I personally think that it doesn't need to be tied to the horn, but I think visually it would be a great thing to show, because if we're moving on to the Shadow Rising, and if we're not doing Kalendor now, we need something to be like, this is this is the next chapter of what we're doing, right? He is the dragon, this is his symbol, and then every time you talk about the Wheel of Time, the dragon banner is like in marketing, is everywhere. People want it on their, they want it everywhere, right? So I think from a marketing standpoint, you have, they move on from Waygates and they go to to this. So
they haven't even marketed
merch
their
whatsoever.
Waygates.
Any merch whatsoever, please.
They do have merch. You go on Amazon, they have merch. It's not very pretty.
No.
But you're right. They have all these like opportunities to do stuff. Like they could have done some of these things that exist in the show, even in season 1, and turned them into merchandise. Except for the sword. They did the Herod Mark blade.
Yeah,
I give them credit for that.
Yeah, I do see a caller waiting. I'll bring them in. Let me show you the Memory of Light. I think this is the one.
But I think it should be part of a promo poster for sure. When they
it would be so cool.
If they're going to put it in there.
I think
that'd be great in the background.
For season 3, it's like it would be perfect to now have this as like one of the main things. That these are the good people, the good side, the champion of the light, and this is his banner, right?
Yeah, so, they just do the same thing that it was in the Eye of the World. It's in the either it's under the horn, like they open the box and there's the horn, and under the horn is the banner, or the horn is wrapped in the banner in the box. Like that's pretty simple.
Maybe I'll bring the dragon banner. They are the people of the dragon.
The people of the dragon.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, that would be that might be the ending where they
like that.
Do they consider themselves people of the dragon though?
They don't. They don't.
People do.
Yeah, exactly. I think the prophecies call them that. They don't really know that. So let me show. Yeah, this is from A Memory of Light, from the chapter that is Those Who Fight. Hawkwing nodded towards something nearby, Rand's banner. Daniel still held it aloft. We arrive here to gather at the banner. We can fight for you because of it, gambler, and because the dragon leads you, though he does it from afar. It is enough. So again, even Brandon at this point wanted to kind of hint that this this is what happened at the Great Hunt. Yeah. But maybe there's a little bit of a leeway. He's afar, but we'll make it work. So
do you have the other quote, the one that even clarifies it even further? When he's talking with Hawkwing?
I think
I have it if you want. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah. No, why don't you? I have one where he talks about. Let me show you this one. I guess this is another one. I don't know if this is the one you're talking about, but now he's like, gambler, Hawkwing replied. Do take better care of what has been allotted you. Almost I worried we would not be summoned for this fight. Matt let out a relaxing breath. Bloody ashes, Hawkwing. You needn't have drawn it out like that. You bloody goat kisser. So you fight for us? Of course we fight for the light, Hawkwing said. We would never fight for the shadow. But I was told, Matt began. You were told wrong, Hawkwing said. No, this is
I love that line. You were told wrong.
You were told wrong, right?
I mean, this is classic, what I think Moraine or Verin, I forget which one of them says that the shadow can also, whoever blows the horn,
They'll fight for whoever blows
exactly.
the horn. Yeah.
And I think I didn't put this out, but I think Brandon actually wanted to look at this a little bit more, and was specifically told by Harriet that no, like this is not possible. RJ always like maybe answered some stuff that may be ambiguous, but he never really considered that could be possible. That it was always going to be for the light. Yeah. All right, let me bring in our caller. They've been waiting, I think, a little while, and see what they have to say. All right, let's see. Hey, welcome to the Dusty Wheel. Who's this?
Hello, still not Senbui, but am Thatcher. How's it going, everybody?
Thatcher, welcome back. How are you liking our discussion on everything about the Horn and Heroes?
My theories have been stolen.
Okay, all right.
Most of my theories have been stolen already. I think. I mean, mostly I'm just excited to see. This is a huge cinematic moment for the show. I think this is one of their first big opportunities to seriously push their CGI, and I know they spent a lot of extra time on it. And I'm really excited to see who they manage to get, who they bring in as the heroes themselves. I'm hoping we'll see some celebrity cameos. I think this is a cool place for that. That can really draw in a lot of viewers, especially new people. Give them an extra. Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm trying to think. Is there any precedence for celebrity cameos in fantasy TV shows like this? I mean, I just feel like
I don't know, but I think it could be fun.
No, I know you're right, but I'd rather they spend that money on.
We just need recognizability for the heroes,
right? Yeah. That is true.
You think like Arnold Schwarzenegger could be one of the heroes? That would be cool.
Gail Kane, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I'm not saying it needs to be someone like that, because I think that would kind of in the way that Angelina Jolie was kind of hard to be Cena in the Eternals movies, where it's hard to separate her from the character. I'm not saying someone like that, but. In the way that like we look at Arthur Hawkwing and we go, that's King Arthur, and we look at Buad of Albion and go, that's Boudica, or a Padraig is St. Patrick. I want these recognizable things, and I think it would be fun if they were recognizable faces too.
So Billy Zane as a hero of the Horn, I like that. You're right. Ed Sheeran was in Game of Thrones. Yeah. How about Brandon Sanderson as a hero of the Horn?
That would be hilarious.
Right.
That would be great.
Because
he's the scribe.
Does he dress like he normally dresses though? That would be, he'd have to dress like
Laser Green Lantern.
That would be a lot.
All right, Thatcher. Let me pull this. So you're saying, should we? No. Will we get a celebrity cameo as a hero of the Horn? I think that sounds right. People would understand what this is. This is somewhat of a dusty pull, but okay.
I feel like Henry Cavill would do it for free.
At this point, I mean,
wouldn't he be good?
He's not attached to anything.
Himself, or,
I think so.
Idol?
He'd take like a standard extras fee for the day.
Yeah, I think so. I think he would do it because he said that he's a huge fan of the Wheel of Time on a bunch of talk shows. So I honestly think like if they put out a call for like, hey, a cameo for Wheel of Time, or if he, I couldn't imagine him not have dropping a line already saying if there's ever an opportunity for a cameo, I would do it. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
He's such a nerd.
What about the Olsen twins as Kallain and Shivan?
Oh God.
This would be. I don't know. I actually never really thought of this because I don't personally care who that person is. I just want that feel to be right. And you're right. Maybe seeing a celebrity might make that feel important or big. But I feel like you could maybe do that with the cinematography and the direction and the fight, and not necessarily who that person is. I just feel like to actually get a cameo from someone who is a celebrity is probably going to be a lot of money that probably could be better spent
elsewhere. Yeah,
elsewhere.
But if Arthur Hawkwing is going to talk, that's a horse of a different color. You're not just going to have a
true.
Yeah, if you're going to have a face sitting in the background, wearing a cool costume, no problem. You can get an extra to do that. But like Arthur Hawkwing has to deliver some pretty powerful lines in this part, and he's got to sound.
That is true. I mean,
he's got to sound.
Voice,
he needs gravitas. So like, could you find probably like an extra, not an extra, but like a
Billy Zane.
I don't know.
Billy Zane is Arthur Hawkwing.
Oh God!
Putting Billy Zane on everything.
I hope they give Billy Zane something at some point, but not that. Maybe in a Portal Stone world.
Billy Zane is going to be Val and Luca. That's who he's going to be.
That actually would be a solid choice. That would be fun.
I mean, this is interesting. A lot of people are saying, Henry Cavill as Arthur Hawkwing. But realistically, like other than that, is there any like? I just saw Jason Momoa show up. Sean Bean. Did they fake us out? Hawkwing dies, but
Dana. He's already dead, so we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
This is good.
Any moment for Sean Bean to have another crack at a fantasy role is great for me. So.
Right.
Eddie Murphy is somebody telling jokes.
Yeah,
kills him with comedy.
Throw him in as
So while I have you here, I'm gonna read one more thing here. Did you have any other thoughts on the Horn, the heroes? Any questions you had? Anything we said that didn't make sense?
Not particularly. I'm just kind of excited to see how they do it. I'm happy. I think I'll be happy with just about any of a half a dozen ways they could go at it. So as long as it hits in some way or another, whatever angle they choose is fine.
Cool. Let me show you.
They've done a great job so far, especially with casting. So
yeah. No, they have. This is Brigida in The Shadow Rising, and I think we mentioned a little bit about this. And I think the next thing I'm going to go into is how the heroes fight. So the Brigida is like, as for Falma, the Horn had called us. We were not there as you were in the flesh. That is why the power could not touch us. Here, tell Ranriad, all is part of the dream, and the one power could destroy me as easily as you. So that's one of the things that, when they are called by the Horn, the heroes are practically immortal. But there is a part, and I think I missed this. I didn't include this. I'll try to see if I can find this. But there's a part where they're like, Hawkwing's like, we can't win the last battle for you. We'll help you. We'll fight with you. But there are ways we can be defeated. So a lot of people, when the Great Hunt happened, and they were like, well, as soon as the horn is blown, that's it for the Shadow. We've got these immortal warriors that can just, take over and win. And there was this kind of feeling that it's like this trump card that like just takes over everything. And Hawkwing tried to say, well, no, we can't. Like, it's just 100 or so of us. We have some physical limitations. They can tie us up. The Shadow knows how to defeat us. So, and the power may not be able to touch them, but there are ways they can be defeated. So, do you think? And we talked a little bit about fighting and how they fight. Do you think that's going to how are they going to portray that? Any thoughts on that, Thatcher? Before we let you go.
Yeah, actually, I do. I think the biggest thing about the Horn of Valere and the heroes is that what Hawkwing said, they're not a MacGuffin. It's not this perfect fix that you can press the button and everybody's saved. You've stopped. You've sent the bad guy back to his dimension or whatever. Mm-hmm. The point of the horn is that it's a scale tipper. It's right at the moment of balance. You need an extra weight in the right spot to solve a very specific problem, and you deploy them in the right place. And sometimes, someone else could throw something on the other side of that scale, and maybe that annuls them. Something like that. There's a lot of precision, I guess, which is one of the things that makes me happy that it was Matt, of all people, the general who got to blow it the first time before he knew what he was doing.
Right.
Because that kind of precision, tipping the battle at the right moment,
Yeah.
If anyone's going to know how to do that, it's him.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, they don't call him Gambler in the Great Hunt. They do. Arthur Hawkman does call him Gambler in the last battle, which is interesting because there is a point where
he does some gambling though.
Yeah,
maybe they can hint at it again.
Well, being a general is being a gambler in the first place because you got to hope your schemes are going to work out, but you don't know.
Right.
There's a scene. Yeah. There's the scenes in the Great Hunt too when Rand is seemingly losing his fight in the sky. It's tied to the heroes. He doesn't describe it detailed. He just says like the heroes were being pushed back as well as Rand also was being like losing and when he was fighting. So
But even in the last battle, I think that's what happens, right? As Rand wins, everyone else wins. I think one of the main parts. I mean, and this is when Lan actually defeats Demandred, that's like a turning point for Rand because he's like, well, he's not dead. He actually killed Demandred, and then he like fights back, and then everyone fights back, and they end up winning. So I think there is a clear like the dragon has to be winning.
A degree of moral boost.
Yes, yeah. I don't think I think the dragon winning is more important for the Horn and the heroes than the heroes themselves.
Well, yeah, it was more just also like they already described the heroes losing in some fashion, like while fighting. So I don't know like how that would look or how that would even happen, especially if they're immortal and not there in the flesh and ethereal in any way. But it happened. He described it there. I just visually, I don't know how to represent that in a way. On television,
where the Lord of the Rings ghosts level to.
They were like ants crawling over, like I hope it's not like that.
Like a World War Z movie or something.
Before you go, Thatcher, let me let you go. Thanks for calling in, and we'll see you back in chat. All right.
Thanks, man.
Bye, Thatcher.
Right, thanks.
Thanks for humoring me. See you later.
All right, see ya. Bye. Joe, what were you going to say?
Yeah. No, I was going to say, right, it says they're immune to the one power, so that's going to be also interesting, like, because if this is going to be a fight and there are going to be Damane there using the one power, like, how do you show them being immune to the one power?
Just let it pass through them is the only thing I could think of, but...
Yeah, right? It's not going to be like they hit like some sort of imaginary wall or something like that, or there's a force field over them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
I think the easiest way to do it and the most effective way to do it to show that they are kind of impervious to damage is to make them semi-ethereal. You know what I mean? Like not really there, but they're there. But then how do you make them fight and lose? So it's weird. Like it's a weird juxtaposition, and I'm really interested to see how they do it.
Yeah. I think if they do it well, they could, again, do it the same way as there's the more important fight is the Rand fight and not the hero fight. And yes, show it, but maybe the details of it are not important, but also make the details like good. Like
that's a tall order there.
I know it's important. Like the
details aren't important, but make them good and don't put them in, but put them in. Got it.
I mean, that's why a lot of the CGI. I mean, there are no Trollocs this season, right? I'm imagining there will be. I mean, they're not going to be episode 8 number of Trollocs or even episode 1. I think there are going to be a few Trollocs
with Perrin and Fain, probably.
Maybe
like with cookpots.
Level.
Yeah, cookpots and that. There might be a few, but that's not where the CGI. And we get the one scene with the merge roll. Yeah, exactly. So the CGI is going to be mainly one power and heroes is what I'm imagining. So
I don't think the heroes, I think that's one of the reasons why I don't think you go like ethereal with the heroes is because it's going to cost them so much more money to do that. I think maybe they'll just make them like just regular
really
people.
Good fighters.
Like, no, I mean, they look like regular people. Maybe there's, like you said, the costuming will look different, or I don't know, maybe they could put some sort of,
but it's more just like when they're supposed to be hit, stuff passes through them is essentially.
No, but there has to be an ethereal nature, right? With the mist and how they show up. Like, again, if it's only 100 of them, right? How is the Seanchan army just like they can't be?
Well, there are white cloaks fighting too.
Yeah, but
how many Seanchan are there? I don't even remember the numbers. I don't even
think
but
I think
goes into
I think it's a big battle. I think it's I'll be probably misquoting this. Maybe someone in chat can throw a number in there, but I think it's not not hundreds, that 100 more fighters from one side is going to change the battle, right? I think
it was thousands.
Exactly, that's what I thought. So I think that's why it's not going to make sense that
100 people can somehow,
exactly,
if they're fighting normally.
The only thing I can think is like maybe they build up the Hawkwing angle, and the Seanchan, like we see pictures of Hawkwing throughout the season or something, and like Suroth, or they're all Turok is like always talking about Hawkwing, and then they see him and they like, because of that kind of seeing someone like that, they lose the battle.
They have the banner with the raven on it, like that you see in the. So maybe like his armor has that on it or something like that. That it's like, oh, he is
like he's fighting for them, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I always thought of it was when
2,000 plus. So 100 is not. Yeah. So that's
Nothing.
I always thought of it as like when the Seanchan came in and they conquered, they like, unloaded their stuff and they just carry a picture of Arthur Hawkwing with them and then they just put him up on the wall.
The great leader.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, I think this is important. I think it needs to look like a big fight, because even from that one still where they show like, I think the White Cloaks are planning a battle and there's like showing a map, and there's
with the little pieces.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like it's not like 100 people fighting, 100 other people, and 100 more people show up or something. It's a big battle, so it's going to be hard how they portray it. I think that's probably enough for the hero. So the last thing, who is going to blow the horn? I left it to the end. The most obvious is Matt, right? So let's get that out of the way. What do you guys think? Is Matt going to blow the horn?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay. All right. And Tom, what do you think?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Like, you can make an argument for almost anyone at this point, but I hope it's him, because I think it adds a lot to Matt's character. But it also would be really fun. I don't know about fun, but it would be really redeeming for Egwene personally, especially because so much is going to have happened to her in Falm at the hands of the Seanchan at this point, that it might be really good for her character to have that moment too. But I don't know, man. You can make an argument for almost anyone at this point to be able to blow it. Like anyone from the good side, like any of the Ravensfield 5, even Moiraine or Lan, even though I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah.
So I put it in. Just before the celebrity cameo that Thatcher came up with, it's kind of 50-50, 53% say no. So I think, Thatcher, you've convinced some people that they should be there. And I just put in, should Matt blow the horn? Now, before you talk, Joe, you mentioned your thing. Matt was the horn blower, and that's how it was portrayed until he was not. So it actually doesn't matter at the end who blew the horn in before, and if they play that up and all that, sure, but from that perspective, it doesn't have to be him. He doesn't need to be tied to the horn, right? I just think I personally want Matt to blow the horn, just because it'll be like, oh, look, horn, I'll blow. That the comic part of it, or the way they could build it, is like he does in the books, is like, I'm just going to blow this horn because I'm scared, and I see the horn and I'm just going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the more important thing is that people think that he's tied to the horn. He doesn't matter if he is or not, because I think that's easier to change in the story than it is to because everybody thinking that he's tied to the horn is kind of important to what happens to the horn afterwards, and how people are plotting and setting up their pieces.
Right.
So I think that's the more important part. The only other character I think that I would not be upset about doing it was Ingtar. It could be his redemption, he blows the horn and saves everybody.
I really hope that scene's in there.
I think so. That's the way I was going to.
And he dies, so then it's not
right. Exactly. Anyway, so he gets his redemption, and he's like, well, there goes your question that someone from the shadow can come to the light and blow the horn, and now the heroes fight for the light. We know they were going to always fight for the light, but that kind of just proves that maybe. And then I think then Matt can still blow the horn, later, right? Yeah. I mean, unless we need, unless we Oliver is a character, and that that whole it'll be hard. It's too far from the story now to be thinking about Oliver and how they do that. But it was pretty neat how they did it. With Oliver and Jane, and how the horn with Fail, her being a hunter of the horn and all that. But I think it makes sense for Matt to do it, mainly because Matt's the one who does it in the book. So to change it without a clear reason. Mm-hmm. So there's so many, right? So we said Ingtar. Like Rand, do you think Rand should blow it? I mean, Rand has everything else going on.
Rand's got enough going on.
Exactly.
Right?
So Rand should be Rand. I think
Rand's got enough toys to play with.
I think
freaking Kalendor, the fat man.
Right. I think Perrin might be. They could make a case for Perrin only because he's leading the hunt for the horn now. And that might be the only reason where I'm like, well, he spends the whole season chasing Fain and that's what he's the leader of the hunt probably, and so that's why he blows it. Or they could play it as Perrin wants to blow it, but Matt ends up blowing it at the end.
Yeah.
Like they go for that. But
Perrin's reaching for it,
right,
and
exactly.
Matt's like, yoink.
Exactly. It's like good to see you again, and that's what he does.
Matt, classic Matt.
What about like Lan or Moraine? Do you think Lan or Moraine need to blow the horn?
If either of them land, but I don't think either of them are going to do it. Like I'm voting. Honestly, I'm voting for Egwene.
I like this. That she's like, but Perrin isn't Matt. Like.
That's true.
I'm voting for Egwene because of everything that we know is going to happen to her at the hands of the Straunchan. For her to blow it will be poignant.
Okay, I think I'm going to end this poll. I mean, clearly everyone wants it to be Matt. So for a few moments, let's imagine it's not Matt. Why don't you chat and you guys give me 4 options? Who else would you choose?
I think we got our 2
to blow the horn. Okay, so I'm gonna.
I like the Ingtar one too, though, man. I love that scene with Ingtar, so I like that one too.
It just makes it bigger, and I'm gonna look at chat to decide. This is interesting. I like this. Can't Layla be a hero of the horn?
I was just reading that.
Yeah.
No, she can't. She only said 2 words in the entire show.
Yes. I see Bella. I'm not gonna put Bella. I need someone real. Someone real. I see Ingtar.
Uno.
Perrin is too reserved to blow the horn. Oh, Uno. I like Uno.
Fail.
Oh yeah, I can see Uno doing it.
Fail.
Do we?
Lanfear. We got Lanfear.
I need some serious. I'm gonna put Uno in there just because.
Yeah, throw Uno.
Uno. Is there no one who wants Loyal? I'm gonna put Loyal in there. Why can't Loyal blow the horn?
I don't know. Loyal would go over the history of musical instruments for 10 minutes before blowing it.
Imagine he's like, but you cannot blow the horn. He's like, you can't blow the horn. You cannot do this. And then he blows it. He's like, he like the whole
so
time.
Hasty.
The whole time he's like telling people, this you can't blow this. This is this is for the last battle. You can't do this. And the whole season he's talking about that. And in the end, he blows it. So
he's the one that blows it.
Exactly.
Oh, that's good.
I see Massima in there, so I'm gonna set Egwene, Ingtar, Uno, and Loyal. Let's see. So if it's not, who else would you choose to blow the horn? If not Matt, who are your choices?
Yeah, Matt's too easy.
I mean, I had my choice, so I was gonna put Loyal. I didn't see anybody.
Put it. Put Loyal.
Yeah, so I put Loyal.
I think it would be interesting.
I have a feeling Ingtar is going to be the one because I think Ingtar's is. From a narrative standpoint, would just be great because if they build up that character, it would be a great moment where he actually you see the redemption in clear.
Yeah,
like, it's a clear redemption.
And then, like Joe mentioned before, then he dies. So then he's
right. Exactly. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
He has his whole arc and it's done. Thank you, Andrew. Yes, loyal is a great suggestion. I agree. So let's see what people say about this poll. But realistically, it's probably going to be Matt, just because Matt hasn't had anything to do really,
That's true.
till now. You could see the same thing with Perrin, but Perrin's probably going to have a wolf.
He's the wolf brother now.
Yeah, so I think they can build that up. Egwene's going to be,
I was going to say though, it makes Matt's getting his powers or whatever, his memories from the Elfin a little bit more poignant, because it'll also give him like a little bit in season 3 or season 4, depending on where they go with it. Kind of like who am I, what am I, why am I here? If he doesn't blow the horn, it'll give him that little bit of a kind of a storyline leading up to him getting his memories.
Oh, this is so good. I didn't show this one, but this is whosoever sounds me think not of glory, but only of salvation.
Yep. Ingtar says that too in the good job, Melvin Garden.
Thank you. Yep. That is perfect. I actually saw that today, and I was gonna. I saw it on, like, when I was looking for this images. It's like on a T-shirt with the horn or something. It's like it's a cool. I was like, I want that T-shirt now, but I couldn't find the actual the quote to put on. But yeah, I think Matt, if not Matt, Ingtar would be great. I'm gonna let this poll go for a little while longer.
I like the Ingtar one too.
Yeah. I think we've gone about 90 minutes, so let me kind of move towards doing our giveaway for the night. So we'll give away a mug. That's what we do on nights. We're here at the Tarvalon. How does the show say it now? I always forget. Is it Tarvalon or Tarvalon? Tarvalon. I think it's Tarvalon. We're at the Tarvalon location of the. Oh, really? Is it location of the Dusty Wheel? And so I'll get that going in a second. Let's see here.
I always liked George Lucas's mention when people ask how to pronounce things. He's like, the galaxy's big. Everyone has different accents. However you pronounce it, it makes sense.
That's one of the kind of the best ways. I think Star Wars is great because one of those reasons. Like, you can
pronounce it however you want, as long as the point comes across.
You can have any accent too, right? Like these fantasy shows need, a British type accent for some reason for most of their main characters. It's just not needed, but and Star Wars gets away with, like, Han Solo is just Han, and then Obi-Wan is Obi-Wan or whatever. If you let me put this in chat, let's see the poll going there. So any other thoughts? Heroes, Horns, Prophecies, anything else, Joe, that you had in mind that's important for season 2? So what is the most important thing for them with this aspect for season 2 to land well?
So I think you guys are both talking about the horn blowing scene, the actual scene of blowing it. I think that's going to be really important. And I mean, not related to what we were talking about tonight, but Rand fighting Torok and then Shamael, or however they're going to do it. I think that's going to be the more important part, or the ending to the season. But I mean, you're right. This is eye candy, right? This is a big fight scene. So I wonder if they're going to use the bolt camera. Like, this is another good opportunity for that, or are they going to use it maybe in an earlier fight scene or something like that? But yeah, I mean, and they're all important, right? Egwene, her ending is huge too. So there's a lot of important things that happen at the end of this, or at least that we think are going to happen at the end of the season. So
yeah.
So, I mean, they could dip into because the horn is so tied to Tel'aran'rhiod, they could start dipping their toes in with talking about, even if they don't show it, talking about it, referencing it. We have the wolves that are tied to it. The horn is tied to it. The heroes are tied to it.
Yeah, I was even thinking that, right, we need a reason for Rand to go to Fahm. Like, we don't know yet why he was going to head that way.
Right.
Maybe it's Moiraine and Lan have something or some information, but I mean, you could do the Dragon Reborn kind of a story where, you're right, Belal's in Tyr and he's messing with everybody's dreams, you can do something similar, like a Shamael messing with Rand's dreams, which kind of makes him go to Falm. So
Yeah,
that's more Teller on Riyadh.
Yeah,
and the telegraph for the whole season will be the horn, the horn, the horn, the horn, the horn.
Right.
But then the big culmination will be Ishamael and Rand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that could be the thing where like Egwene's dreaming of the horn, Rand's dreaming of the horn, Perrin gets vision of. I mean, Perrin's just going after the horn, I guess. So I think that could be a way to introduce dreams too. I saw Matt talk about give us some prophecy, and I think that's important. Like even though I think Tom, you mentioned it at the start that the horn is important. I think the horn is not maybe as important as certain other things for the Dragon Reborn, but the horn has to show up before the last battle. I think that's the only kind of place that I found within the Cariathan cycle that it's mentioned. I actually didn't put those prophecies up, but it's basically about there's one in Knife of Dreams. Let me see if I can find it. It's basically I think there's something about the fox marries the raven, and the trumpets for war is sounded, or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's like that's actually that one is maybe not from the Cariathan cycle, but the Shanshan cycle, whatever that's called, the Ezekian cycle or anything like that. But yeah, so I put the mug giveaway in chat. So enter !Raffle to enter. I see people showing up. Joe, Tom, what's kind of the most important thing for you from this aspect that they need to do this well? What's important?
To do it well, it just has to feel important, and it's in the books. It was a huge shift because like this entire battle, mainly Rand being up in the sky in whatever fashion that happened with, because that's kind of what heralded him as the dragon to everybody.
Yes.
Everyone was like, oh, he's the dragon. Oh, he really is the dragon. Like, he's the dragon. Like, and then that picture pops up everywhere for like 3 or 4 books. Like, and people, artist renditions of it, and people talking about it, and stuff like that. So they need something that does that. Whether I don't think they're going to do the thing in the sky, but the horn of bloody Valere being blown is a very important thing happening, that even the common people of the Westlands or Randland, would know about. So that happening would be a very important thing to tell them that this is a real, like something is happening. The moment is coming. Maybe it's the last battle. The dragon is actually reborn. He's not a false dragon, whatever.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like the Kalendor moment, but like without Kalendor, and you can do it with the horn in some
especially
way.
if they... Yeah. Especially if they do what you said, where they move Kalendor to even maybe after the Isle Waste.
Exactly. The Kalendor might just come when it's needed at the end. I didn't include 5 right fourth, that prophecy. I think it happens in the Great Hunt because it mentions the Stone of Tyr and Kalendor. So I was like, we could mention that, but then they'd have to like
do something with it,
or leave it for later, which would be a little bit odd, or they change that to include the horn, which I thought would be too much. But I'm just going to read it. It says, I think Verin says this, I'm pretty sure Verin says this: 5 right forth and 4 return, above the watchers over the waves shall he proclaim himself, bannered across the sky in fire. The Stone of Tyr will never fall till Kalendor is wielded by the dragon's hand. So
how odd is it that she quotes that there? Like, it's, to me, there's like nothing there that says that connects the two to like the actual scene, right? To the actual what happens there and the scenario that's set up. But somehow Verin connects those two things, and I've never figured out how.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
except there's 5 of them. That's it.
Yeah.
There's 5 of them.
Speaking of Verin, though,
a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Do you think we're going to get the again, book spoilers, but there's the scene in the Great Hunt with Verin where she lies, where when she tells them that that Maureen sent her, and then at the end of the book Maureen says I didn't send her. So like, do you think we're going to get something like that?
I think we spoke about. I don't know, Joe, how you, but I think we spoke about it. I feel like it was a few episodes ago where Verin is probably showing up in Tarvalon from the picture, the small clip we've seen, and she goes and meets Swan, and she tells Swan, Moraine sent me, just for us. It has like no bearing other than she's like, oh,
other
Moraine,
than like a hey.
Yeah, exactly. Like it has no meaning, and maybe Swan's like that makes no sense. But okay, I don't know, Joe. Did you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think we're gonna get some sort of clue. Like there's gonna definitely be something she does that you're gonna find out later on she lied about.
Right, and I think for maybe book readers, it might even be fairly obvious. I think it'll be hard for us to not dissect every single word she says for a lie. I think for most other people, it would be. I think they'd probably do a good enough job to not. I think they should do a good enough job to not make it obvious. Yeah, and that she isn't who she is. Okay, all right. I've seen enough people in the giveaway. I'm going to close it, and let's see who our winner for tonight is. Let's see. It should show up in chat. Goat brother Roger.
Goat brother.
Yay.
I don't know if you won before. This is the classic Innkeeper line. After someone wins, you say, "I don't know if you've won before. I think you've won before." But congratulations, Roger. That's great that you won a Dusty Will mug. Reach out to me. You know how to get in touch with me, and we'll get that to you. Awesome, great guys. That was awesome. I think I'm excited. So for me, I think it's the battle. The battle has to not feel like, 20 people fighting in a courtyard. If it feels like that, I think it would be. I would be really kind of bothered by that. I mean, I think they can make the Turok versus Rant fight go well. I think that shouldn't be a problem. All of the other kind of blowing the horn part, I think is fine. But I think the actual big battle, they have to show that it's huge, the scale of it, how it happens, that the Shan Chan huge return, all those boats that came has to be they have to be, basically turned back, right? That's what happens. Mm-hmm. And if they don't show that in that scale, I think it's just going to be it's just going to not have that effect that episode 8. I mean, a lot of people say episode 1 has to be important, and I think it will be, but I think if episode 8 hits well, it's going to bring a lot of people be like, yeah,
this is the show to look out for.
This is how season 1, this is how good season 1 should have ended.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's like, show us all the money. Oh, actually, this is I just saw someone show up as a caller, so I feel like I should they've been waiting a little while. I was doing the poll stuff, so let's quickly take this last call, and then we'll end the show. Let me see who's here. Hey, welcome to the Dusty Wheel. Who's this?
Hey, what's up, boys? This is Jeremy.
Jeremy, thanks for calling. And we're just about to wrap up, and I saw your call pop up. What thoughts did you have for our show tonight?
Yeah, so unfortunately I was working, so I missed a good chunk of the show, but I've been on for probably the last 20 or 30 minutes listening. And I think I kind of have a good way that they could do the Rand issue Fight in the Sky live action.
Okay. I mean, I'm interested.
So it was so this, I mean, obviously that was crazy tricky, because even on the page, it's kind of what? I feel like animated, you could do it pretty well, but live action, I'm I don't envy them having to figure out how to do that. So I think honestly, it would still take a little maneuvering, but I think a good way they could get it done where it wouldn't take a crazy amount of CGI is have the Rand issue fight still kind of happen as it happens, but instead of seeing it in the sky, people see it in their dreams, all on the same night. So there's still a question of was that even real? Did that even happen? But when enough people have seen the same thing, I think that can kind of warrant oh, okay, well that was something to at least most people. And given the CGI we saw in the first season, I'm not trying to be negative. I know they went through a ton of stuff, but
right.
trying to tackle. It seems like trying to tackle another huge thing right at the end. It's like, okay, maybe there's a creative way to do this.
I think that's a good
I
thought.
like it.
Do they even need the battle in the actual sky? Like, does it have to be in the sky?
Nope.
I don't think so. I think the way they could do it is maybe even like at the end, like a painter or someone is just painting it and showing, hey, we saw this. They don't have to actually show that people saw it, but that it happened and people are like talking about it. And that's one way is like someone painted this because they
that's even
saw
simpler.
it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, like, just hint at everyone knows about this because it was broadcasted, but you don't actually have to see that be broadcasted. The thing I just remembered was what's the Marvel show with Oscar Isaac? What's the guy's name? Moon Knight.
Oh, Moon Knight.
I know they have that battle with in I don't know if you guys have seen Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Any of you here? No. Okay. But there is this battle that happens kind of figuratively not in the sky, but in the background as someone had mentioned that is a way you could do it, and it didn't look good. So I think any way you try to do it, and this is Marvel and putting in a lot of money, so I don't think it's going to be hard to actually portray it like that. But I think you're right. A dream makes sense. I don't know, Joe, if you have any other thoughts on how.
I'm gonna say the nano to the dream. I think it's too much. Only because you're really starting to really mess with the Tellerandriad metaphysics by being able to do something like. I mean, I guess we know
it is a pattern level event, right? You know that.
Donal does it to like people, right? He does it on a mass level where he's doing it to not just like the main characters.
Right, no, but I mean, so you're saying.
Doesn't have to be Tellerandriad.
Don't mess up don't mess up Tellerandriad metaphysics, but the fact that it was broadcasted in the sky, like there's no explanation of how that happens. So
well, I think we know how it happens. We just don't want to see it because it's going to look silly. That's pretty much it.
No, but also like how did it actually like what are the metaphysics of showing up in a different part of the world as a vision in the sky? Like I don't think it's called
within the Wheel of Time.
I don't know if Jordan called it or is it a fandom thing, the pattern level events, because that's how that's how they're known, right? And that's one of them. But Jeremy, thanks. Yeah, I think that you're right. If they mess that up again, you're right. I kind of just blew over the fact that the Rand Turek fight is good, but the Rand Ishii fight can make or break this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, one of you said that earlier. I did actually agree with it when I heard it, that the Rand Ishii fight, even though it's small scale, like people wise, I think that's what they should kind of focus on, making really nailing.
I feel like they can just skip over the actual broadcast part of it. They can talk about that everyone saw it, and that's probably okay.
Maybe there is no fight with Ishii over the sky. Maybe, right? We just had a sword fight with Torok. Oh, let's do another sword fight now. No, maybe they pull from the Dragon Reborn ending, and maybe Moraine comes in and Balefires Shamael.
Oh wow, okay. Because
Moraine
Moraine fought Ishii and lost last time, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So this time she wins.
That
would be cool. I like that. Rosamund Pike is your main star, so I'd be totally okay with.
Yeah, she does it.
He's like, I learned this new
like that, so it wouldn't be like totally going.
And I like the. Yeah. So there, real quick, I do like the idea of her coming back, and like maybe it's even introduced that she knew she could Balefire him in this end of the first season, but she was like, I'm not going to resort to that yet. But then now she's like, all right, F that nerd. Here we go. Like, I'm not losing again. Here's the Balefire. Bah.
This could be her first use of the power in the season.
Exactly.
Too.
Oh yeah,
she doesn't get her power back till maybe the very end.
That would be. Yeah. I totally buy that. Yeah, I think that would be a great. You're right, but metaphysics, the Great Lord can do stuff. Yeah.
He melts people into the ground. He makes spiders crawl out of people's mouths.
Thank you, Jeremy, for catching at least the last part and calling in. And but yeah, we did talk about a few things at the start of the show that we showed a fun clip of Innkeeper Hatch and what he wants to do with the horn. You should go back and look at that. And
we'll do.
Yeah, and listen in we'll be back next week too. And great that you called in.
Sweet. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks. All right. Bye.
Yeah.
So Matt saying it's a Theoryland thing, but Jordan called them effects of the wheel. I think pattern level event is just,
Cooler.
Yeah, it's just I just feel like
a PLE.
Yeah. Let's see. All right, cool. I think that's it for tonight. Yes, we will be back next Wednesday. I don't know. I think we have a schedule out there that we're going to talk about a few things, but we're keeping it fairly open because, we don't know what's going to happen. So as June comes to an end and 3 weeks to WoTCon, right? That's and then it's just getting closer and closer. But I think this was awesome. I think they have to land the horns and the heroes, and I think they will. I'm really optimistic about this. Thank you for being here. Thank you all for listening in chat. You guys are awesome. And as we say around here, good night from the Dusty Wheel, and smash the black.
Welcome to the Dusty Wheel.
Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel.
You went right to kill it. Look at you. You're already. You're just done. I mean, this is like this is
really well. And now I'm like, great, my turn.
And if you don't like that, and you want to say, well, Robert Jordan could have made the two rivers all white. He could have, but he didn't. So
just complimented me on my dress, and as you can clearly see, I'm
sad. I see Nakomi as something along the lines of a Shida Haran analog.
It does make sense why it outlasted the breaking.
Yeah.
See, this is why I have Therese in the show, because she's going to correct everything that.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Dusty Wheel Show. What? Remoff Challenge! Yay!
Terror's like baby face mounted on like a huge body. So like all
this
of
is
a
not
sudden,
just
like,
a traditional fantasy, right? There are sci-fi
and
elements.
Just a moment ago, Rafe tweeted something. So let me get my guest in here with me, and probably I would say put in 70-80% of the work. I got to be over the shoulder and be like, no,